I'll be talking about the Global Embedded Payments plugin ISV that we have for Microsoft Dynamics Finance and Operations. This is for the accounts payable function within Finance and Operations, and we'll give you a quick run through and why people should have a quick look at it. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a history tour to start with of the evolution of payment files. A lot of the accounts payable teams and finance managers and CFOs on the call will remember that there was a match made in heaven in the 1980s. It might not be Kylie and Jason, but it was AP staff and ABA files. Obviously, some partnerships are meant to go on forever, but others do evolve over time. So the ABA files for domestic payments were created in the late 80s and were originally used to standardize direct debits and credits across financial institutions. So it was a standardization throughout the Australian banking industry. And it was agreed by most of the banks as well that there was a common format. Now that there was a thing called the internet coming along. It's widely used in Australia for bulk payments, even though it is still, it's 2025 now. It supports domestic payments only and only requires limited vendor information, which makes it easily acceptable and easily taken on board by accounts payable. So that's the domestic payments. Obviously, xe.com, we're famous for our international payments. So let's talk about that. We do have the evolution of the payment files for international payments. So this is something that has taken a little bit longer to come along. So there's a lot of manual entry and has been the predominant method of processing international payments for a very long time. So once again, accounts payable teams on this call, CFOs, finance managers, anyone that's had to work in these areas will know that you have to go and open up even nowadays, you have to open up your banking browser, go and do all your payments with the bank, go through your approval models over there, then go and take all of that information. Either if you're lucky, you can copy and paste it across into your ERP platform, or you're actually having to you've got some type of connector of some description, but a lot of the time that it doesn't happen for international payments. What happened in the mid-2000s, and this was the beginning of my career, that phone and fax booking of FX deals was slowly replaced by these online platforms, and it was something that was took off and created companies like ourselves, XE, and others as well, to do your corporate international payments. With the trade details, there's a lot more information than there is for domestic, making domestic payments. It is more complex, and there is more information that you need to put in. It isn't just a bank account and a BSB. Depending on where the payments are heading around the globe, you do need to put some additional information in, and it depends on the currency and the country that the funds are going to. So, what if there's a better way? That's where at XE, we've gone and built this ISV, which isn't a data transfer tool. What we've gone and done is put Pay with XE straight within Microsoft Dynamics Finance and Operations. This means from your accounts payable payment journals, you're able to pay to 200 plus countries and territories in over 120 currencies. Now, that sounds great, George, but what are the benefits of this? First of all, we have the security. Because this is an encrypted API feed directly from your Dynamics environment straight into the XE Treasury platform, you have the encrypted API feed. This has been pen tested by one of the big four over in the US as well. So if there's any questions around that from any of the IT teams, we can assist on that side of things as well. What this means is that there's no need for extraction of a payment file at all. We basically connect you from within your Microsoft Dynamics environment straight into the Swift network. No files and no fuss. It will help increase your accuracy because you can pick up your invoices within finance and operations, and you can pay those invoices within finance and operations as well. There is no manual entry. You're not having to transition between having one browser open, a second browser open, sometimes a third, to go and make your international payments or your domestic payments. There is no extraction of an ABA file. And what you'll notice in the presentation that I'll do shortly, there is no manual entry needed as well. Because this is truly automated and it streamlines your accounts payable function, there is no manual replication of data between your systems. All of the information that you have within Microsoft Dynamics is the information that you send to XE to get your payments out the door. What this also allows as well, with our audit log capabilities within Microsoft Dynamics, you do have CFOs have unprecedented control over the payment execution. It is entirely controlled within finance and operations, and we'll talk about it later, but the standard Microsoft workflows are used for your approval flow process. So you get the benefit of having the Microsoft workflows as your approval flow process. I'll touch on that a little bit more in a second. Now, this is our payment journal in finance and operations. A lot of you have live in this screen quite a bit. What we have here, we have 4 vendors that we've gone and set up. As you can see, we've got Acme Office Supplies, Landay Packaging, Aid Supply Company, and our GBP vendor. So in these examples here, you will also understand that we do have all of them being sent different currencies. So one of the benefits of this plugin is that you can do multiple currencies, including domestic currencies, all within the same payment journal, all at the same time. Now, I won't go into too much detail. However, all of the information that you have on the vendor profile cards of these vendors gets pulled through to the payment journal. Very similar to as if you're using an ABA file to do your domestic payments. So one of the things that we do encourage our clients to do is go and make sure that all of their vendors are up to date with the correct banking information on their vendor cards and on their bank account cards as well. Once we can do that, we pull through all of the information from the vendor cards straight through to this payment journal. Sliding along, and we do have some additional information here. You will also notice that we've got the method of payment as XE. What that means is that's saved on your vendor profile as well, on the vendor cards as well. That is the default payment method for sending the payments through finance and operations. So that gets updated on your vendor card. There are some additional pieces of information that we need to get payments out the door with XE. We do need and this is exactly the same as what your banks would be asking a lot of the time. So we would need a purpose of payment code, purpose of payment text, and also the industry name. So that's additional information so that we don't have to come back to you as the client later on and go, hey, what are these payments for? We've got some questions being asked by ASIC. Now, if we scoot back to here, you'll also notice that our Pay with XE button is set up on this banner here. Once you click here, this is where the encrypted API feed starts heading to XE. So you've got the standard "Are you sure?" screen. So you've got your payment method there as XE, your offset bank account. So in finance and operations, we do use XE isn't a bank, but it is a bank account that you guys can set up there just for accounting purposes only. We don't require you as the client to hold funds with us. Settlement currency in this case is US dollars, as a US functional currency demo account. Hit the OK button, and we get pushed straight to all of the information going straight through the API encrypted feed straight to our treasury platform, very similar to how you would do with your banking platforms. So now you've got a live quote that counts down from 90 seconds. We've got our transactable exchange rates. So this isn't a data feed. These are live transactable exchange rates that you'll be locking in to make your payments to these 4 vendors. As you can see, it gives a breakdown here of what the rates are. You know this in real time. In terms of the countdown timer that we talked about just a moment ago, that is just for the live rate to be updated. You don't need to get approvals and everything done within that time frame. However, when the final approver goes in, it will unlock the payment journal to go and make the payments. I will touch on that a little bit more in just a second. So once everyone's happy, this is sat as awaiting approval. So what that means is that it's sat there, an accounts payable clerk has gone and prepared all the payments. They've gone and got the quote. Now at this point, they'll be able to go and push the payments through any approval process that is needed. So that can be built however you like, and we haven't hard coded that for users. What we have done, we've gone and leveraged the Microsoft standard workflows to go and make that a success. Now, because we've got this sat there and it's a live quote, the contract details is currently sat as unconfirmed. The transfer number, that would be the quote and then ultimately the contract number of this payment journal with XE. So if there's ever a problem or you need to contact XE about a particular payment run or batch file, this is the number that you would be quoting. Currently, the settlement status is sat as not settled. That means that you as the client haven't settled the domestic currency to settle these transactions. We do a breakdown, and also you know what the total is going to be. Now, let's turn around and say that we are now at the point where we need to do the payments. So we're going to need to push this through to an approval flow. If you do have a workflow in place, this is the point where you would go and push it through. The payment journal would get locked. It goes through the approval process, and then the journal will get unlocked. Then it's at this point now that the approve button will light up. And I will highlight that we do have along the side there as well, along our bar, you can refresh the rate. You can go and pick particular line items to exclude if needed. And also you can do cancel and sync and the other options that you have there as well. But the one that we'll push through with today is the approve button. Once we've hit approve, we're accepting all of these rates. This is the "Are you sure?" page. We hit agree. Everything gets locked in and the settlement invoice is generated. Now, it's at this point now where the client either has the choice to send us XE the domestic funds via wire transfer, Or what we do encourage clients to do is have a direct debit facility set up with us so that we'll be able to go and run the direct debit on the domestic bank account. So for example, for a lot of clients on this call, it'd be their Australian dollar bank account. What that then means is that we can go and get the payments out the door for you straight away. Now, the close button, it's just to highlight the info. And at this point now, you've gone and locked in all of your payments for all 4 of those vendors. You can see that the contract is loaded here on the blue banner. And you can also see that the XE payment status has updated to approved. The contract status updates to confirmed, and you've got your mass payments number there as well for the batch. And your settlement status is currently set as not settled. So at that point now, you've essentially gone and locked in all of your transactions, very similar to how you would do with your bank. However, you've gone and done it all within Microsoft Dynamics Finance and Operations. All of this information now is obviously captured within Microsoft Dynamics Finance and Operations. The only information that's sent to XE is the information needed to get your funds to their beneficiary. So with the total, we would go and run the direct. If you do have direct debit set up, you don't even need to log into your bank. You've already gone through an approval flow where the CFO and the finance manager have gone and approved through the workflow. XE goes and runs the direct debit on that account, and that settlement status that was highlighted just a moment ago updates to settled. And then once that happens, the XE payment status that's currently set as approved changes to sent. So what sent will mean in our world now, which is very different from extracting ABA files, is sent means that XE have sent the funds to your vendor. So it doesn't mean that the ABA file has been sent to the bank. Just a slight change in terminology there, but quite important in terms of monitoring your payment flows. Now what we've got here is you've got the ability to post your journal, all without having to leave Microsoft Dynamics at any point. At this point now as well, and I won't go into detail on this call, but we do have automate bank transaction entries. What that means is that we have an auto reconciliation feature as well. So for, as I say, for the accounts payable teams on the call, they'll really appreciate that this is a feature that we built on the end of it. It was recommended by one of our clients, one of our beta clients, and we built it out, and it has been one of the key features. There's been a real benefit to our clients, what it allows them to do is go and auto reconcile all of the payments from these payment journals. So what we've gone through so far is we've highlighted that we've got additional security. We haven't had to go and extract an ABA file. We haven't had to go and take information and upload it to the bank. All we've had to do is hit the Pay with XE button, go straight to the XE treasury and straight out into the big wide world through the SWIFT network. Accuracy, we've gone and picked up those invoices. If you're doing that, that means that there's no manual entry needed. You just grab the accounts payable, just grab the payments that they need to do on a particular day, and then hit the Pay with XE button. We have the efficiency, the embedded payments being truly streamlined, and obviously a large reduction in manual replication of data between systems. In terms of control, I haven't shown the audit log on this example, but if you do want to go into a little bit more detail on the reconciliation feature and also the audit trail as well, we can run through that. Just book in a time with your account managers at Fujifilm Microchannel. We can, CFOs have unprecedented control over their reporting of who built the payment, who approved the payments, and who released the payments. So you do have that ability, which you wouldn't normally have either with a domestic ABA file solution or with the manual processes, which a lot of companies are still doing. Now, I will jump into it straight away. Some people go, this is all great, George, but what's the pricing like? Please break it down for me. So we are really lucky that we are essentially a payment gateway in a lot of ways. A lot of people think of us that way. In terms of our pricing, we are charging a $0 licensing fee. So this particular product for the software doesn't actually cost any money. What we're bringing in as well is 0 wire fees. So that's any telegraphic transfer fees that you're currently doing for your international payments. Sometimes banks can charge anywhere between 10 and 20 bucks per payment. If you do have those costs in your business at the moment, we can help remove those and give you this technology for free. For the right clients, we do offer $0 domestic TT fees as well. Obviously, there is a cost to getting those payments out the door. However, if you're doing enough as a company in your international payments, we were able to go and absorb those fees and be able to get those funds out the door for you for free of charge also. We have competitive FX rates on 99% of the occasions. We're able to bring our competitive rates in line with what you're currently getting with your bank at this stage. So a lot of clients are looking at this as a very quick ROI on their payments process, and they have this additional security and the software that allows them to do it with a $0 licensing fee. Essentially, XE just wants to make the money that the banks were making on your FX. And right now, we've got an exclusive offer for Fujifilm Microchannel clients, which is our $0 onboarding fee. If any of the clients on this call or any Fujifilm Microchannel clients that enter the sandbox before the 31st of March 2025, we will do the onboarding fee for $0, which would normally be a cost of $1,000 per entity. So we do have a few clients that have several entities that they sign up with us. Obviously, we can bring that cost down significantly for these Fujifilm Microchannel clients that are looking to get into the sandbox in the next 6 weeks.